Hi there, this is Mike, and welcome to this tutorial on how to use Photoshop to create a very quick and accurate panorama using Photomerge, Adaptive Wide Angle, and ContentAware Fill. To start, I'm going to open up Photoshop here and open up a new document and just talk a little bit about how you want to set up your photography in the first place. So I'm going to go to my brush tool, turn the opacity down, and let's just say I'm drawing a street. And this street comes to an intersection and goes up a hill, and on the corner of this hill we have a building. You can tell because that's a door, and there's that, and over here we have a tree, and over here we have a corner of a building, and a door, and in the distance we'll put in a few more buildings. Bear in mind I'm not using a tablet, this is all just mouse, so please be kind on my drawing here. Let's carry out this street here and add a few more buildings. And something like this. This is generally the scene you're trying to capture. I'm going to switch over to a black line and turn the opacity all the way up. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your first photo from about here on the edge to about here. What's important is that you overlap your next photo. Your next photo you're going to want to have start about here and bring it to about here. Your next photo, you're going to want that corner of that tree and start it from about here and bring it to about here. Next image, from about here to about here. Last image, start at about here, just past this doorway, and then bring it to the edge. I'm going to change colors now just to talk about this. What you're really concerned with here is this slight overlap, this little zone of overlapping data. This is what Photoshop uses to merge the panoramas. It needs common points to understand what connects to what. And if you can set this up in your photography, this is going to work nicely. If you don't have these common points, it's not going to work. So allow me to open up these photos. These are some photos of beautiful downtown Providence. Here we have downtown Providence. I'm standing here, and notice we have a corner of a building here that's just about clipped, and I go to my next photo. There's that corner of that building showing the next. This is that overlap right here that I was talking about. Here we have in the distance the Capitol building. Here we have the next building. Also notice here's the Capitol building. There's that overlap. Here we have a walk sign. Here's that same walk sign, and I just walk. I'm just pivoting as if I'm a tripod, landing on the last image here, which has the First Baptist Church. This is all of about maybe 270 degrees of swivel. And what I would like is for Photoshop to blend all of these together. What I could do is open up any individual photo. I'm going to use my crop tool to expand my canvas, and then open up a second photo, and then try to line it up so that's about right. That's about right, but it's not not perfect. Notice that the angle of the buildings has changed as I'm moving around. And notice, more importantly, which is actually more difficult to correct, the exposure from this second photo to this first photo, it's a little darker. So I'd have to use a layers adjustment, I'd have to use masks, I'd have to use transform to blend all of these together seamlessly. The whole thing was about 8 or 9 photos, and I could do it by hand, but it would probably take about half hour, give or take, maybe an hour, who knows. So let's close that. Don't want to save. And since Photoshop CS5, they have included this wonderful tool called Photomerge, and you can find that under Edit. It's down here. Correction, File, Automate. And under Automate, you will see Photomerge along with a few very nice other automated tools. But Photomerge, under the File, Automate, Photomerge, this is what we're looking for. And I've never had a problem with Auto. I like Auto. Some of these others you'll get different results, but Auto does a great job. Next thing you're going to want to do is select the files. So I'm going to browse which files I would like to open and open them up here. I'm going to Photomerge these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 files. And thankfully I photographed these using that slight overlap technique, and Photoshop's going to do a great job. So I'm just going to click OK. And you can even watch over here in the layers panel, it's going to open up each individual photo, create a layer from that photo. It's now positioning them according to where they belong. It has now created an individual mask for each individual photo, warped and stretched each photo, and blended them seamlessly. The lines are connected, the tones are seamless. Let's zoom in right here where that first and second photo met. Here's the first photo gone, here's the second photo, and they blend perfectly. Photoshop has automatically created masks. If I disabled the layer mask, come now. Not cooperating. Let's try a second one. There we go. I have to select an individual layer. Let's disable that layer mask. Here's that second photo with no layer mask. Enable the layer mask and it bends to fit like a puzzle piece into these other photos. And it strings them together, and the results are really quite fantastic. Now if I wanted to make a seamless panorama, I could then go to my crop tool, but we've got a couple of issues here. We've got, and this is just from how the photos lined up, because I was looking up a hill and maybe I didn't have it exactly level. This was handheld. If I cropped right here at the top of the sky, I would completely crop out this nice church steeple here. Same thing here. If I cropped out at the very bottom of this photo, maybe I want more of this. A second problem that we have here, let me just get rid of these guides for a second, is that not everything is perfectly straight. Particularly, let's look at this roof. I want that to be completely horizontal. It is not horizontal, and it has a slight bow in it. So while Photomerge did a great job of stitching these together, the process it uses to warp and stretch and stitch everything together does come with a price of warping and altering some things that you might want to be just perfect. From here, If we wanted to make sure every horizontal line was horizontal and every vertical line was vertical, we're going to first I'm just going to simplify this by selecting all of these layers, using Control E to flatten them into one layer so that I can work with this as one thing. And now I'm going to go to Filter, Adaptive Wide Angle. This is what we use to straighten this out. And let's zoom in on that roof. What we have here in Adaptive Wide Angle is this wonderful tool here, the Constraint tool. So I'm going to click on that, and notice you also get a nice little zoom in over here that'll show you where you're clicking. Get very precise results. I'm going to click on the corner of this building, click, and notice the line that it's generating is following the bow of the photo. It actually recognizes the warping of the photo. And I'm going to click what I want to be straight, no more bow. The second I click that, it completely straightens it out. That is now a straight line. It is, however, not perfectly horizontal. It has a slight upward lift over here. To correct that, if I hover over any one of these handle points on this circle they've given me here, I can change the angle of that line. And if I want it to be completely, perfectly horizontal, I can hold down Shift, and there we go. That is completely horizontal now. It has, however, caused these lines to lose position in the process of making that all fit together. So I can use the same process. I'll use my Constraint tool. I will go down to the corner of this building here, and I know this is the line I want to be straight. Hover over the handle until I see those two arrows. Use Shift and drag. That is now perfectly perpendicular. That is now perfectly perpendicular. Let's go for this side of the building right here. I want that to be straight. Hover over the handle till I see the arrows. Shift and drag. This is now as reasonably square as you can get it. Let's take a look at the other photo, the rest of the photo. Making this square has now warped much of the rest of the piece. Let's zoom in here using our Constraint tool. I want to go to the corner of this building. Click again. Hover over the handle. Click, Shift. Too far. Hover over the handle. Click, Shift. That is now perfectly vertical. We lost the alignment here. I'll do it again. We now have a line. Hover over the handle for the arrows. Hold down Shift. Perfectly vertical. I feel like this guy is not perfectly vertical, so I will click, drag. Now we have our handles. Hover over, click, Shift. Perfectly vertical. How's the other side of the photo? This fella feels a little warped. I'm going to click, Shift. It's now straight. I'm going to use the Scale tool to back off, because if I straighten this now, it's going to crop the top of that. So I'm going to just scale this down a little. And now I'm going to grab the handle, click, Shift, that's much more vertical. This is vertical, that's vertical. Let's try this fella in the middle. He seems a little askew. Use your align tool. Click a line that you know you want vertical. Hover over the anchor point here. Shift and drag. It will now be vertical, and everything else will bend around it. Let's try this last one here, because I know I want that to be vertical as well. Hover over the anchor. Shift and go drag. Now perfectly vertical. This whole image looks pretty good, so I'm going to say OK. That is much better. If I go to my history, we just went from that to that. Many more straight lines and right angles. Now what we want to do, if I was to crop this with what I have available, I'll go to my crop tool. I would have to come in this far on the top to get everything in view, and if I would have to come in this far from the bottom, this looks okay. I've completely lost my steeple here, and I kind of like the way this road was coming at me, so cropping it, throwing pixels out, might not be what we want to do here. So in this situation, what I can do is I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to just crop out all of those blank pixels. I don't need those. And what I want to do is not crop the information that I have. I want to fill in the blank spots. And to do that, I am going to use my lasso tool to select these blank areas, and this is a large blank area. And when I have that selected, I'm going to use ContentAware Fill to fill that in. ContentAware Fill usually works with much smaller pieces. However, this is a large area of sky, and we could be okay. We might get into some trouble here in this overhanging lights traffic signal. But let's just see what we get. So I'm going to go to Edit, Fill. Here's the Fill dialog box, and I want to make sure that I set the use to Content Aware. And I'm going to say OK. Photoshop's now going to read the edge of this line, look for similar pixels, and fill it in. Oh, just like that. That's beautiful. That filled in this sky beautifully. We have one strange floating traffic signal here, but we'll deal with that in a second. I'm going to use that same trick to fill in this area here and this area here and just see what we get. Using the lasso tool, I just want to lasso in just the blank area. Go to Edit, Fill, set to Content Aware, click OK. That did a wonderful job. It got the line, the edge of the sidewalk here. Beautiful. Let's see how we do over here. This might be a slightly more tricky situation here with all these shadows and these crosswalks. Let's see how we do. Content Aware has a slightly random element to it, so if you don't get the results you want at first, try it again, and you'll get different results. So Edit, Fill, Content Aware, OK. Did very nicely here, and this is not awful. It's not perfect, but for this demo, we'll just say good enough. What I really want to do is address this floating traffic signal, and we can do that if I come over here to my tools and click this fella here, the patch tool. I'm going to click on that, and what I want to do is make sure that the options are not set to normal but set to content aware. So I'm going to circle that strange floating traffic signal, and I'm going to slide the selection over to an element, just a piece of the photo that I want to sample, and then I'm going to let go. And just like that, we are filled in very nicely. And that's how you go from several photos to one seamless panorama using Photomerge, adaptive wide angle, and ContentAware Fill. I hope that was helpful. Thanks so much for watching.